In this video, we'll be covering how to fix an ugly corner drywall stress crack. If you follow these steps, you'll keep the work at a minimum and get your walls looking as good as new. Starting off with supplies, you'll need a corner drywall trowel, some drywall joint tape, some easy sand joint compound, which actually isn't that easy to sand, but we'll cover that, a mud pan, and a joint knife. Additionally, two items that aren't shown here are a respirator mask and a medium sanding sponge around 150 grit. Step 1 is to fill your mud pan with joint compound and slowly add cold water, mixing thoroughly. You want to take your knife on its side and with long strokes mix that compound until it's smooth like butter. The consistency you're looking for is some nice thick creamy peanut butter. You want it to spread easy, not run, and hold solid to the wall and joint tape. Step 2 is to clean up the cracks. Run your knife around the edge of the cracks to remove all high spots. Shake loose the cracked drywall. Get aggressive and ugly with it, that's fine. You're looking to get rid of anything that might stick out and keep you from smoothing out the mud. The key to an easy sand job with drywall is getting your mud as smooth as possible and as close to finish as possible before it dries. Next, you're going to take your corner knife and put some mud on both sides of the 90. Take that knife and run it down the corner, applying even pressure to add a first coat that the tape will stick to. Be liberal with the application to fill the crack. You'll be scraping off the extra later. Once you have a good amount of mud on the wall, take your knife and moving in one direction, scrape off and smooth out the extra mud. Step 4 is to measure out your joint tape. This is easiest to do if you run the roll right next to the corner and rip off the desired length. Take that piece of tape and fold it along its edge at a nice 90 degrees so it fits up into the corner. Put it in the corner and gently press it down with your fingertips, fitting in and hugging nicely against the wall. Next, you'll take a small amount of mud and run it across the tape with your corner knife. Just enough to cover and hold the tape against the corner. And then probably the most important step is to take your straight knife and run it along the crack to remove the excess mud. Again, easy sand is quite difficult to sand smooth. The more you can get rid of and the smoother it is when wet, the easier your sand job will be. Careful not to catch or wrinkle the tape during these smoothing steps. And note the dry time for your compound you'll be using. 45 joint compound gives you about 45 minutes of work time, but they also sell 5, 20, and 90. Here's a nice close-up for you. This is just layer 1, but gives you a good example of how smooth you want to get it. Once you let that dry to the point it's visibly lighter and solid to the touch, you're going to put another layer on it. This time, pay even closer attention to the smoothness of the mud. Using your flat knife first, put a nice layer on each side of the corner and run the knife several times to work on any bubbles or mud clots. This is where the art takes place. You're icing a cake, boys. Take your time. To get your corner nice and sharp, do one last clean pass of the corner knife. Even pressure here is everything. Alright, let's jump forward to dry. You can see that the mud is fully white and there's no wet spots, so we're ready to sand. Put on your mask, take your medium grit sanding sponge and go to work. At this point, the work should be pretty minimal if you followed the steps previously. This is a light pass to cut down on the edges and give that final smooth. Use the corners of the sponge to your advantage. It's square for a reason. It fits right in those corners and lets you make one hell of a smooth joint. Knock off any high spots, focus on the edge of the mud and feather it into the existing wall. Circular motions are good. Be careful here to put even pressure on the sponge. You don't want to accidentally dig in with the corners and have to go and re-mud again. And now we're ready to prime. Take a mini roller, fully coated, slap it in that corner. Congratulations, you just fixed a crack in a corner and made it look way better than it was before. If you found this video useful at all, hit that like button, subscribe, and stick around. We got tons of tips coming your way in the real estate, rental, and renovation world. Stay tuned.